looking at a topic that's not really directly related to this class, but I thought of talking about it primarily because whenever someone is dealing with big data or any data science related things, one of the methods, you need data, right? Like if you want to do artificial intelligence or if you want to do any data science related stuff, you need data. There are a lot of ways of getting data. One of the common methods is through getting data using like some files. You download lots of data from internet from some through some mechanism, and then you use that data to do some artificial intelligence stuff. Sorry. Other ways actually try to get data using something called as web services, or uh, you getting data from websites. Now, if you are getting at big data scale, you probably not very efficient to do that. But then you could probably have built a pipeline. Like for example, Google might be going through the entire web every day, and they are probably building a big database of their own. So we will just go through very quickly. Well, I don't know how much time we'll spend, depending on how you guys receive. We'll spend little bit of time today. If you are all comfortable, then we'll not discuss much. We'll just go, because this is a topic that I can spend a lot of time on, but it's tangential to what we are doing at this point. Maybe like 6 months from now, that might be useful. But I just wanted to wrap up all the Python coding related stuff with this one. Then from next class onwards, there is more mathematical things. While I say mathematical, it's not necessarily just mathematical, but like programming to do some mathematical stuff. So it's different kind of programming from next class onwards. This is where our pure Python introduction stops at. So that's why we're just briefly touching upon this topic. Some of you might already know some of these things. So if you know, you can just talking. Or you can let us know if there are any interesting comments you'd like to make. Okay, so 3 new people joined. Okay. Pawan, it looks like some people are in waiting. Okay. So without much. So first thing is, what is Internet APIs? Actually, maybe we'll just make it more like a discussion session this class, rather than me talking. So how many of you know or have heard of this Internet APIs?
Internet API is something you use to access a software such as YouTube or whatever.
Right. What is it? So let's say, for example, Google Maps, right? I go to Google Maps. I want to search for a place. So let's say I want to search for Moore Park High School. So it shows me something. One way to express. Oh, okay, yeah. Someone is asking, right? REST APIs, which helps you get data without having you to send data about literally everything you do to get some data back. Yeah. So before we go to REST APIs, right? Just API basically. An API is something where Google Maps has built their own website. Everybody wants to use Google Maps, but of course you don't always want to go to Google Maps website, right? Like sometimes you might want to embed a Google Map in your own website, or sometimes you might want to just check if Google recognizes a given address location. You might want to try something like place an ad through Google Maps. Different things. Maybe you want to use it on your phone or an iPad or something. Now, for each one of these, if Google were to keep writing one program, it would just become too much to handle. So when internet was evolving, like in early 90s, there were two very popular, or at least not very popular. There are two styles of communication that evolved between websites, or between a client and a website, or between a client and a web resource. So one of the methods, and this is not really a method, it's more like a architecture, is called REST. REST. It allows you to communicate with a website. Like for example, I want to go to Wikipedia. I would just go here, and if I, oh sorry, wikipedia.org, very nice. And then I say I go to English Wikipedia. Then let's say I want to click on this. This is today's topic. So this is a web page, right? All of you know that this is a web page. You put in a URL and it goes to this web page. But what if I want to read this web page programmatically? So I want to just, I'm curious, like someone did, Ish and team, I think they did this project where they wanted to just randomly go through Wikipedia and find some articles. So how would we do something like that? Interesting. So that's what these REST APIs are useful for. The way this REST API works, so if you guys had to communicate with your friend, let's say, for example, you wanted to talk to your friend, if you have to make it like an algorithm to talk to your friend, what are the steps that would be there in your algorithm? So if you wanted to find out, let's say, from your friend what his score on the class test was, what steps would you follow? Okay, say hello first. Okay. What else would you do? Go to your friend, greet them, then ask them. Perfect. APIs, uh, don't get caught up with the words. Like, so you can Google a lot of these terms, you'll easily find them. API is application programming interface. Anything which allows your program, another program to talk to your program, is application programming interface. Right? So in very simple terms, we are not trying to define these things rigorously or anything. So if it lets your program talk to another program or communicate with another program, that's an API. One way of doing these APIs is REST APIs, and we'll go to them in a little bit. So as someone said, like you first go to your friend, greet them, and ask them. So that's the same thing that happens when you do with a website. You first go to a friend, which is wikipedia.org. Right? This is almost like going to that friend, and then you're asking that friend about this topic, whatever this is, Gigantorhinkus. Probably I spelled it, pronounced it wrong, but that's exactly how websites also work. So you go to your friend, so you go to a URL. This is called URL, or Uniform Resource Locator. So this is the link or the site that you go to. So you go to a URL and then you ask for whatever information you want. So does this make sense? Yeah, Satvik, I think you have to register again. Someone was asking. Yeah, you guys have to register. The only reason is because we don't know if everyone wants to continue after each session, and this is more derived from the Agora Math Circle style, where every session is just 6 months, while this AAC thing is over a 2-year period. I think you might have gotten a link to register again, so please do register. If you haven't already, if you have some difficulty registering, let us know towards the end of this class and we can help you. Okay. So now how do you do this programmatically? Actually, before we go into the programming part, let me just do in Paint. So as I said, I'll draw something. I don't know if it will be good. So this is you. I'm hoping I'll draw somewhat decently. So you are going to a URL, which is like a web page. Right. So you go to say a URL and you are asking for some information. Right. So this asking for information is called as request. Very poor handwriting in Paint, but so you make a request. You send that request to a URL, which is just a way of saying like the web page that you all are familiar with. If you want to go to Gmail, you say gmail.com. That's an URL. It's an acronym for Uniform Resource Locator, so that your browser knows where to go. So you make a request, and what kind of request are you making decides on what happens at this URL. So when you want to know your friend's score, what kind of request are you making?
You'll probably need the API key for aguramathcircle.org.
No. It's, Jonathan, not programming terms. Don't go to programming terms. Right? This is just you talking to your friend in person, not your website. You are talking to your friend and asking him what's your score. What kind of request are you making?
You are making a request for information.
Right. So you're making a request to get some information, right? No, don't go to technical stuff. This is just friend stuff, right? Like, so in friend terms, you're making a request to get some information back, right? So you're asking your friend to give you some information, and these type of requests are called GET requests. Again, very straightforward. They didn't really invent complex terms. So you are making a GET request. So what do you expect when you make a GET request? What do you expect your friend to say? Or what do you expect from your friend? No, you're sorry, someone was saying something I couldn't hear. Sorry.
What his score is.
Okay. So you expect a response, right? Now, do you think your friend will always give you a score?
No.
Right. So what could the response be? So yeah, you're all very unfriendly people. Whoever is saying no, you should probably tell the score. Sorry, I cannot divulge that information now. Sure, yeah. So response could be like all of you guys are saying no. If your friend is very nice, he would just say no, probably, or he doesn't want to be mean. Or if he is really being nasty, he could say sorry, none of your business. Or if he is very friendly and he's really your good friend and he knows he got more than you, or he thinks he got more than you, he would give you the score, right? So you would either get a no as response, or let's say your friend is really angry, he might even give you an error. Like if your friend is like a website, he might say, who are you?
It was like a "Who are you?" error, unauthorized API key.
Right, yeah, he might say, who are you error, yes. If he's really angry, he might hit you, yes, he might ban you, sure. You might get a lot of problems, right? So you made a GET request, you'll get some response. And this is the overall thing that is captured, or at a very high level. As I mentioned at the beginning of the class, I'm not dealing with like the technical details. I'm just trying to go over the idea of web communication. Hence, some of this is probably not a technically accurate way of describing, but we are not here to talk about those parts. Our goal is just to learn this at a high level. So request response. But what is your expected response? What would you expect when you are asking that your friend? Score, right? So a number, probably a number or a value. So some data, right? So you make a GET request, you get a response. Now, what other types of communication can you think with your friend? So this is one communication scenario where you wanted to know what your friend's score is. You asked him, he or she told you or did not tell you. That's one type of communication. What other types of communication can you expect to have with friends?
Like, did you watch like a game last night or something?
But all that is information, right? Like information exchange is one type of communication. So get is simply information, get info. So other than getting info, what other type of things can you do? Can you communicate with your friend? Game, okay. That's more like playing, okay. So this is all getting data. What if you want to give him some data? Oh, giving data, right? Exactly. Yeah. So you could give data to your friend also, right? Instead of just asking your friend, you could also give some information to your friend. Now, there are two ways in which you could do this. So you want to give info. Let me copy this whole thing. I'll just as he's try to replicate this style. Okay. So one is get, the other, let's start deleting some of these things here. So now you are giving your friend, you would use a post request, right? Yeah, which is like a request, but you just hit some data. Exactly. So you could use a post request. So you can, oops. So you can, oops. So you can post a request. Post is almost the same as get from a practical point of view, but here you are giving some additional information and saying, okay, take this information and use it somewhere. A more formal way of doing this is actually called a put request, but get and post are more ubiquitous, so we'll just stick to that. Can you give an example of a post request? Actually, yes. So let's go to Gmail. So this is my Gmail, right? When I want to sign out, where is sign out for my account? Okay, I'll just sign out of all accounts. So I said log out, or yeah, it's little, yeah. If you notice here, see, it's sending all these additional pieces of information when it says service login, sign in chooser. So these are all the different pieces of information this is sending to Gmail to let me choose which website I want to sign into or sign out of, right? Same thing, like if you go to your Netflix account, put your username, password, and hit submit or login, Netflix is posting your user details to Netflix's server and trying to check whether you are really who you say you are. So setters in web terminology is like post. So there are two types of posts. One is if you are trying to, oops, not two types of posts, two ways of two levels of giving information. One level is just giving information, that's post. So if you are telling your friend your score, you are posting your score to your friend. See, this is from back in the days where mail was probably common, right? Like, so if you wanted something, you would post it to your friend. Will this also result in a response? Yes, usually, but it need not, right? Because if you post it and if you don't hear back from your friend, what does it mean? Does it mean your friend got it or your friend did not get it? So almost all these are called HTTP requests. HTTP is the way in which internet works, or the way in which websites on internet communicate. Hypertext transfer protocol, that's just a standard communication guidelines. So if you post, you'll get a response, because if you don't get a response, you don't know what happened. So all HTTP requests, you have a response. Right, yeah. So what response is up to your friend, basically is up to the website that we are talking to, but usually you'll get a response. Or maybe there is an error, like your friend did not receive the message, usually you'll get an error also. Sometimes if you go to a website, let's say I want to go to Agora and I type spelling mistake, agoramathcircle.com. Oh, see, I got some error, right? Like, so this is also a response. Even though this is a mistake, this is a response still of some sort. So you will get a response of some sort. What response? It depends. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So far get and post, right? Then there are two other types of requests that you can make, which for our purposes, they are almost not really useful, but we'll still just, for the sake of completeness, talk about them. The next type of request is called a put request. What do you expect this would do? Any guesses?
Putting information into something.
Sorry, what was that?
Putting information into something.
Right, yeah. Okay, so what would, like in your friend example, let's try to motivate everything through friend example. What would you do with the friend example here? The site is asking for your info and you are giving info, but you are not putting anything, right? When you are asking for info, you are either getting info. Yeah, so if you're giving some info, then that's post. You put your score to coax them into telling their score, but that's post, right? You post your score if you want to give it. So in normal English terms, what do you put? Where do you put and what do you put? You'll put something, right? When you post, you're sending information from the endpoint to do something with it, right? Yes. You're sending information for the endpoint to do something, absolutely. Right, exactly. So put is basically you're telling it to put it with him. So let's say you give your friend uh, a book and say, keep this with you. So you're putting that book at your friend's house. Does this make sense?
So basically stores information.
Exactly. I give the friend my score and tell him not to tell anyone. That is also posting, right? Like you could, again, it's very easy to. So if you are giving some information, that's mostly post. If you are storing something like some sizable thing, not just a piece of data, but like a object, that's put. Again, right. You only use get and post, but that does not reduce the utility of put and delete, right? They are methods. So there are lots of HTTP requests. Commonly, you only see get and post just because they are sufficient for most purposes. But before this even happens, you almost always have a first thing, like first somebody mentioned, you first say hi, right? So the basic starting point of all HTTP requests is connect, right? You have to connect to this web URL. So you have to first connect with your friend. Only then you can get put, post, whatever you want. Otherwise, you wouldn't know what to do. So there are things that are part of web communication that you rarely see because the classes that you guys use or have used hide all these things from you. But if you wanted to absolutely start from scratch, there are a lot of request types that happen, which you may not see on a day-to-day basis. So, and the last one, as someone mentioned, is delete. What would delete do? Delete information, right? Delete some info. Okay, so just to summarize whatever we saw just now, who can summarize actually? Let's see today because we want to just go more in a casual style. Who can summarize what are the different requests we saw? Yeah, absolutely. Delete data, remove information. Okay, Shruti, Satya, you can go.
Okay. So the first one is giving data, where you give data to someone else. And the second one is getting data, or sorry, the second one is getting data um, through post request, which is a request with just other non-useful pieces of data attached with it. And then you have put post, which sends data in order for the endpoint to do something with it. Like, for example, storing data on a software, or giving your math book to your friend's house in order for them to like use it to study. And then the last one is delete, where you delete info.
Right. So the first one was get actually. So if you want to get data, you have to say get. If you want to give some piece of information just for the website to use, like username, password, that is post. So posting, the most common example is whenever you type in a username, password into your Gmail or your email account or some website that you log into, you're posting your credentials to the website. If you go to a page in Wikipedia, you are getting the information about that page or getting that page basically. So get is when you get data, post is when you send some data. Put is when you send some object or when you want to create something on the destination, like you have a Google Sites or a Wikipedia page and you want to create a brand new Wikipedia page or a new YouTube video, then you are putting this information there. So that's put. And then delete is just deleting whatever information you have access to. Now, this is a very, very simple way of talking about these things. There are, of course, a lot of subtleties involved. No problem, Meghna. Yeah, I think you're supposed to register, Meghna, so that's okay. From next, I think if you register, you'll probably get an email from next class. Okay, cool. So let's look at how to do this programmatically, right? So what we are trying to do is we are trying to, oops. Oh, too bad. I unnecessarily signed out of my accounts. Now I have to. Okay. Okay. Yes, syllabus. If you log into your Agora Math Circle account, you will get this same PDF. Right now we are in this session 14. Okay. So as I mentioned in this pictorially, we can do almost the same kind of sorry, can do almost the same kind of things. Basically, whenever you want to send a web request and get a response, you can simply use this from this module or from this library called requests. You would say import requests, and then you would create a new request and get or post data. Very seems straightforward, right? Like, so let's look at a simple example. I have an example of a Wikipedia page. I'll just copy this. So you would say request.get, right? So what does the import do? Import, like we have used in the past, if you say import math or for example, it lets you use whatever are the objects or classes defined. Oh, I can zoom in my screen a little bit. Is this clear? Yeah, we'll get. I'll give you the. I'll share this link with everyone. So this is AEC session 15, I think. And I'll say class. Okay, so let me share this link so that you guys can. Oops, hold on. Click something unnecessary. Okay. Okay, so if any one of you want to follow this along on your own screens, you can try that as well. So what I did is I said requests.get, right? As I said, and I'm giving it. Oh, Meghna, you can watch the video later. So what we spoke about so far is different types of HTTP requests, which are basically ways of communicating between websites or between applications that are on the web. And we are now looking at the code. So you only missed the story part. Now, luckily, you came for the code part. So we could say request.get and give it a URL or a website link. And you get a response back. So let's even call it response. Okay. So yes, exactly. So this one line of code is the communication code. This is it, one line basically, just to say, hey, get me this web page. It gets you the web page. So let's see what it returns. Okay, so I'm not doing anything. I'm just saying this status codes are basically some as I mentioned, whenever you're trying to make HTTP requests and get responses, there is always a response, and those responses have some status codes. So if you make a request, you get a response. That response has a status code which are fixed numbers. So you can actually look at HTTP response status codes, and there are lots of them, and they have specific meanings. If you want to, if you are interested in this, you can look at these, right? So each of these things means something. So there are a lot of these responses, and there is some meaning associated with them. If you want, you can look up these things. So if you don't get status code 200 is for success. Because we are making a get request, we just expect to get response. So you are looking for status code 200. And if I run this now, it says worked fine. Yes, this one line is really just the code to communicate with the API, because Wikipedia has an API basically. You guys can all try this if you want on your own machines. I shared the link to my collab session. You can copy this, look at it. We'll look at a few other things. So it might be best if you try it on your own. I'll give you a couple of minutes if someone wants to try. If you guys have any questions about what's the code here, we can discuss a little bit about that. Does every website not? What is the purpose of 200? As I mentioned, so if you look at in this one, 200 is the message saying the request has succeeded, right? So the meaning depends on what you did. So for get, this means you got the request. So since I am making a get request, if I get status code 200, it means I got the information I'm asking for. Oh. So what else is there in response? Yes, we'll look at that in a second. Does every website have its own API? Actually, not really. You can make get and post requests, but API can be a lot more detailed. You can make get and post requests to pretty much any website. Let's see if I make it to Gmail, what happens. So request.get of
Yeah, I made an auto email sending machine, and I use it to send auto emails to my friends if I don't have time to send emails to each of them.
nice, yeah. So see, basically everything has it, like Gmail has it, of course. If you guys know what any of your school websites, so if any one of you, or let's see, agoramathcircle.org, or so every website, because it has to communicate, right? Like a website is useless if it's not communicating. When you type this URL here, it is communicating to the website, right? So it has to have it. But APIs are even more, like some websites go beyond this. They create even more powerful APIs where you can do a lot more things. And we'll look at that also in a little bit. But all of them have the basic ones. Someone else, can you send the link of the HTTP response codes? And just go, you can Google, but yeah, this is one link. There are thousands of pages that explain these kinds of things. Okay, so straightforward stuff. So now let's see what other information comes back in this response. Because response is a class, you can simply say response to dot, and you'll see all of these things. I'm hoping you can see whatever I'm seeing on my screen. Do you guys see all of this? Yeah. So status code is one attribute of response class. There are other attributes. So it has request. What is the request? So let's see. So request is a get type of request. So we made a get type of request. And what is the reason? I don't know what's the reason, but in this case, it's since it worked fine, reason is just saying okay. So you can look at these. What this is probably the raw request. So or the raw response. Sorry, it's some raw response is a more like a address or a bio or a location for it. You can look at the text that comes back. If you notice, this is all the HTML text corresponding to Agora Math Circle's website. See, it has a title called Agora Math Circle Non-Profit Community Service Organization and other things, amongst other things. We can call this and look at it in more detail if you're interested. But so this is the page. So it has some footers, something about student registration, address, and things like that. Right, so that's the entire text. And there are other things. You can look at the URL that you used. So this is whatever you gave it. Sometimes what happens is if you go to this website, maybe it redirected. In those cases, this might be different. But this is pretty much it, right? So you guys can play around with this. My objective is not to actually like go into detail in this one. It's just to cover at a high level what HTTP requests and responses are. We'll look at a little bit more. We are not done. So this is a simple GET request. Any questions? Have you all tried on your computers?
Just give me a few seconds. I'll be done trying.
Doing one for sending an email from some random email account I have.
Yeah, you can try those things, Jonathan. Yeah, sure.
If it's possible, can you send the link to your notebook?
Oh yeah, I sent already. I'll send again. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I'm not getting those pop-ups with all the different functions. Oh, you mean like when you type response dot, you're not seeing this this pop-up? Is that what you mean, Tanishka? Yeah. I'm not sure what's happening if you're not getting it. You're on collab session and you type this and you're not getting it. That's what's happening. Okay. Yeah. You can. So let me see. Python request. Python response. So you can probably go here and look at the different things if you want. If you are interested in finding out what is there, you can go to this web page to figure out what are the different things. Yeah, maybe running your code once also might do it. Cool. Okay, so you get a request response. Now what other things? So now we are, let's see, let's continue with our original Wikipedia example. So we have Wikipedia. I just tried to connect to it. It says worked fine. So that means this is Wikipedia's API. I'm hoping. There's no way to know, but of course, since we put in wikipedia.org, we are hoping that's the right one. So what else would you like to do when you go to Wikipedia? Read text. So, but read text about some topic or read text.
No, we were going to just like be reading like information about a specific topic.
Sorry, someone is saying something. I can hear you, but I don't know what you're. I can't. What you're saying.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so when you're on Wikipedia, you read specific information about a topic.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you can get specific information about a topic. Okay, so let's see what we can do to get specific information about one topic. Okay. So before we do that, let's see how you would do that if you are doing it yourself. So you would say encyclopedia wikipedia.org/wiki/ what topic do you want to try?
MLB, baseball.
Sorry, what? Oh, NLB. Okay, let's see.
No, MLB.
MLB, sorry. Okay, so Major League Baseball. So if you notice when you typed MLB, this is what is the title of this page here, or the location of this page is. So let's see how to do this programmatically, right? So Major League Baseball is what it says. So I copied this from Wikipedia's API. So let's see what happens if I do this. So we'll go over what this is. So this code, I'm just verifying that the code works. I copied this from Wikipedia's webpage or some documentation, so it must work. But I made a GET request, but I'm also giving it some parameters. So you can consider this as more like a post. So we'll go through what I did here. So the first thing is I did an action. So I'm giving it an action parameter. What kind of a Python data structure is this? Whatever I've highlighted here, what kind of Python data structure is that?
A dictionary?
Dictionary, right? So in this dictionary, I have like several keys. The first key is an action. So my action is I'm trying to query Wikipedia, right? I'm trying to tell Wikipedia, okay, hey, I'm querying it. For what? For a title. Trying to say for this title. I'm querying you for this title. And my query is in JSON. And these are some other things. I don't know, maybe this is some plain text true. That means the response is probably in plain text. I don't know exactly what some of these attributes are for, but this is their API. So once I pass these parameters, then I get a response, right? So when I say request.get up to here, I'll get a response, and I'm trying to, yeah, I already posted the link to my collab session. You guys should be able to go there and it should refresh, I think, directly. Yeah, you should be able to just go to my collab session. Oh, is it not refreshing?
No, it is.
Oh, okay, you have to refresh yeah, if you have to refresh manually, refresh manually. Yeah. Okay. So this is right. Yeah, refresh manually. So this is something where I made a GET request to Wikipedia. I got some response, and I'm now reading the extract of that page. So there's a lot of code, but are there anything? There is one thing that I don't know if all of you know. This is JSON thing. I don't know. Some of you may already have used this multiple times. Some of you may not know. I'm just focusing on things that I think people may not have seen. So this is the first thing that I think some of you or most of you may not have seen. It's called JSON, right? So before we get into too much detail, what we did here is we went to Wikipedia's API exactly like the previous example, and we posted some parameters. So this is equivalent to doing the following. So if I go here and then
Why is my email sender working on other ways to program, but not on Colab?
yeah, probably because that's not
I can send you the link if you want me to and check it for me.
later, Jonathan, not really now, but yeah, sure, at the end of the class we can try. Okay, so I'm telling it to give me a JSON response, and so this is if you notice each of these things, it's giving us a different response. So now this is the closest to the response we wanted, and this has the extract right here. So this is what we wanted to read from MLB, about MLB on Wikipedia. Right. We'll go to what is JSON. Yeah, we'll go to what is JSON, but so far what I'm just trying to show you what this is. So when I try to type I'm basically posting this data to this website and giving it all this data values, and it gives me a response, right? So that's what I did up to here. And this .json is basically I'm saying, okay, whatever response you get, because I asked for a JSON response, I'm expecting it to get JSON response. I'm just saying, okay, whatever response you get, just JSON of that. Now, what is JSON basically? Remember how we spoke about different types of data? What different types of data did we talk about in maybe like 5, 6, maybe 3 months ago? What are the different types of data that we spoke about? Anyone, you remember like what are the different pieces or types of data that we spoke about? Okay, integer, string, float, boolean. Okay, list, very nice. Tuple, what else? What else? Date, time, nice. How come no one is talking about, oh, dictionary? Yes, yeah. So dictionary. Okay, cool. Now, of all the data types that you guys have typed here, which is the data type that allows you, which data types allow you to mix up multiple types of data in one thing? Lists, dictionary, right? So lists and dictionaries allow you to mix up multiple elements into one. Maps, yeah, sure. Linked lists are also types of lists only, right? So okay, so lists and dictionaries are the common ones we studied, which allow you to use multiple data values within one, with one variable name or with one reference. So this parameters is a dictionary, right? In Python, this is called dictionary. In everything in Python is an object. So a higher level or a more higher level way of referring to this is an object. This params is an object, or the parameters dictionary is also called as an object. Everything is an object. Request is an object, or response is an object, page is an object. So every variable that you're talking about is an object, because it lets you, that's the layer of abstraction at which we can deal with it. Now, when you talk about this object in Python, this is called dictionary. For internet data communication purposes, this has been standardized. So the communication is, when communication is done through a style called JSON, there is some standard, and that looks very similar to a dictionary. JSON is short form acronym for JavaScript Object Notation. So basically, it's identical to a Python dictionary. But because it was built for some other purpose, it has its own name. And most of the web services deal with JSON as a way of exchanging information. You can, of course, get information in other formats like in HTML, but because JSON is so much more easy to deal with in Python or in other scripting languages, it is very common to see responses in JSON. Does that make sense? So if you don't want to get into too much details, JSON is basically a dictionary, and JSON is the web. Whenever you're talking between two websites, they exchange data in dictionaries, and that dictionary has a fancy name called JSON. Is this clear? Okay. So now, as you probably will, just go over quickly about JSON in a little bit, not too much in detail, because as I said, it's very close to a dictionary. So you can have, and we'll just talk a little bit about how to handle JSON in Python, right? So let's give me some example of some object that you want to represent in JSON. Any example. That object should have some attributes and it should have some data values for those attributes. Electric car. Wow. Okay, car is an object. Okay, so car JSON. Okay. What would a car JSON have?
Tires.
Tires. Okay. What would your tires be? Like what data value would it have? Okay, model. Yeah, correct. So model. It would have model. What model car do you want to type here? Tesla Model S. Okay, so Model S. Then you'll have brand. Okay. Someone wants to type Lamborghini. Okay, let's type Lamborghini. So if you want to type Lamborghini, what model would we say? Aventador. Okay. What else would you commonly hear when you're talking about Bugatti Chiron? Okay, why not Veyron? Okay, horsepower. Okay, so let's say, so HP, we'll just use a short. Okay, what would be horsepower for Lamborghini Aventador? Anyone knows? One? No, definitely more than one.
150.
150? Okay, let's see. Lamborghini Aventador. Probably more like 750. Technical specifications. Where are the specifications?
369.
Sorry, what's that? Oh, 729. Yeah, it's more like 750. Yeah, 729. Someone got it. Okay, cool. So 729. What other attributes can you think of? Fuel capacity. Wow. Okay, so fuel capacity. How much is the fuel capacity? I have no clue what is the fuel capacity here. So let's just say 20 gallons. I don't know if it's so. Top speed. Yeah, good attribute. Yeah, if you are talking about a fast car, you should talk about what's the top speed of no. The top speed probably something like 320 kilometers, like so maybe 200 miles or maybe 250 miles. 350 kilometers, so 210 miles. Okay, so top speed is 217 miles. Very nice. So this is all basic information. What else could you say?
You could say, I don't know if this would be the right one, but color. Like just
Color, but that's one color, right? So if you want to say colors, let's say all colors. What are all the colors that a Lamborghini Aventador is available in? Okay, red, green, blue.
Yellow.
Okay.
Definitely yellow.
Definitely yellow. Okay, yeah, definitely yellow. Yes, absolutely. That's the more right iconic one. Okay.
White.
White, yes, absolutely nice. Orange, banana. Maybe that's the yellow you're talking about. Brown. Okay. Okay, good enough. Enough colors. Okay, what other attributes do you have? We can ask year. Okay.
Type of engine.
Type of engine. Yeah. Okay. So engine type. So we'll say V12.
12.
Right. Okay. What other types of information could you type in this? Year. It keeps. Okay, we can say year, like start year, maybe start year with this specification. So when was the most recent Lamborghini Aventador? Oh, 89 BC. Definitely not. Okay. So maybe let's say 2010, because I'm sure like even in 2010 they probably had 729 horsepower.
How about like seat type, like cloth or leather?
Sorry, what's that?
How about like seat type?
No, those are all. Yeah, we are getting too much in details. Okay, so what else? Can we say maybe race car? Is this a race car? Would you say it's a race car? Do you know if people use? Yes, true. Okay, so true. Okay. So this is a dictionary, right? Price. Okay, yes, good point. Yeah, important attribute. Okay, what does it cost? 2 cents.
$50,000.
Just $50,000? No, I don't think so. Let's see.
Sorry, 500.
It's $350,000.
Okay, let's see. 2020 pricing. Okay, so this is Lamborghini, Urus, Huracan. So this starts at $421,000 something. Okay, so let's just say 421,321. Okay, so we got all the information we want. We can obviously keep typing forever. Yeah, they're all free. So this is a dictionary, right? What types of data are within the dictionary? What data do each of the elements hold? What is this data element type? Yeah, you just give 400K tip and just pay $1,000 for it. Yeah, right. So avented or that's a string. This is a string. Okay, let's make it capital L. What type of data is this? Integer. What type of data is this? List. What type of data is this? Bool. Absolutely. So nothing fancy, right? So far, everything you guys are able to follow. Right. So everything exactly like that. Once you create that dictionary, now you just put this in triple quotes, print car JSON. So this string is called JSON. That's it. So you type your dictionary and you just put triple quotes around this. This is now JSON string. So we'll say car JSON string. Right now, this is a string like any other string that we have used in the past, right? Why triple quotes? Just because I have used double quotes within it already. Since I have used this and also I put on multiple lines, so triple quotes. So just so that it knows, this is called escape sequence. So it's escaping these things. So sorry, not escape sequence. Like this is so that because I'm using the same double quotes already within data values. Okay. So now this is simple, straightforward stuff, right? We typed a dictionary, we just put triple quotes around it, and now this is a string. Obviously, this is not very interesting to you guys because I typed it the other way around. But when you're talking to Wikipedia on internet, you don't know whether and you're expecting a dictionary to come back. Wikipedia is not in the business of dealing with Python alone, right? I might be talking to Wikipedia using some old programming language like C. Maybe Wikipedia in C, there is nothing called dictionary. So maybe I don't know what it is. Hence, it's something more of a string for it at this point. But for you guys, because you know Python and in Python, this is natively supported, this is a dictionary for you, right? So this is a JSON object. Now what do we do? Like if we want to deal with this JSON object, we have to import JSON. So there is a class called JSON, which has methods to deal with JSON. There are only two methods. One is take a dictionary and convert it into a JSON string. The other one is take a string and convert it into a dictionary. Make sense? I mean, not there probably are lots of methods in this, but there are two usable methods for us or useful methods for us. One is take string, convert to JSON. Other is take JSON, convert to string. When would you use take JSON and convert to string? Print, or if you are really doing in this example, when would you, in web communication example, you would take a, if you are the website, you would generate a JSON object, convert it to string, and you would send it back to whoever is requesting the information. That's when you would convert JSON to a string if you are the website. who is responding. If you are the requester, you will get a string, you want to convert it into JSON, right? So this is a JSON class, or this module has a method called loads, which can load this into a dictionary. So now let's print car JSON and print data. Oops. Let me take a simpler example of a string. I don't know whether I typed something wrong. We'll take some other example that I've already gotten here. Then we'll compare what I might have typed wrong. Okay, so what did I type wrong previously? Okay, so I got this, probably fix this here. I don't know, maybe sensitive, and also I have to probably do it this way. Let's see if I do it this way, does this work? Nope. Maybe I have to name this thing entirely, like in that other example. So car, I'll call this car, and then give this whole thing. Oops. Oh, still something wrong. Need to lock this one thing and see if this goes up. Okay. I'm not sure what I've typed here wrong, so must have typed something wrong. Let's just stick to the other string that I copied. We can change the attributes if we need. So this is the string version of it, and this is the JSON version of it. So, and actually the dictionary version of it. So once you do this, you can simply do data of researcher, and it would give you something. And you could say researcher of name, because it's a dictionary within a dictionary, and it would type Ford perfect. Right. So after this, it's all handling dictionaries. Make sense? So now let's try converting this data into a JSON dictionary. So for that, there is a json.dumps of data, and then you get a JSON string. So it again gave me back a string like what I already had. So let's use this. Maybe let's go back to our car example and try to create the JSON string instead of by putting these double quotes. Let's try to use the JSON class to make it a dictionary. Hopefully that works. So I could say json.dumps of car JSON. Now it's not a string anymore, it's a dictionary. Let's see. Okay, so this looks identical. Again, it's one of them is a string, the other one is a JSON, is a dictionary, because we typed it almost the same. They look identical. But again, since it's JSON.loads takes a string and converts it into dictionary, right? When I want to do this, like for example, if I say print car JSON string of model, it would complain because string indices must be integers. So this is a string. When I say json.dumps, it took a dictionary and made it into a string. These two things look identical, but you can notice one subtle difference here, right? Like single quote versus double quote. This is the JSON string representation. This is the Python dictionary representation. Make sense? So when I say json.dumps, it's converting dictionary to a string. If I want to convert this string back into a dictionary again, that would be json.loads. And I can do that here. Make sense? And the reason we are converting this back and forth is simply because in web, everything is sent back as a string or as a sequence of characters, not even as a string. You just get a sequence of characters and it's a string. You have to convert that into a dictionary before you start using it like this in your code. If you guys don't have any questions, please try to create your own dictionary. Try to convert it into a string and convert it back into a dictionary and access some attributes similar to this, just so that you get you have practiced these commands yourself. You can try for maybe like 2-3 minutes, and if you have any questions, we can discuss about the questions now. Anybody has any questions? Sorry. Convert string of dictionary into convert string to dictionary. Right, loads does that. Yeah, it converts string to dictionary. Okay. If you guys are trying and you're getting some errors, you can message about those errors. If you have tried and you're successful, you can message about that as well. If you're not trying anything also, you can message. Just so that I know, at least I can move on. Okay. Are you still trying, or if you guys are trying, I'll give you a minute or two more. Otherwise, we can continue. Okay. Still trying. Okay. Okay, cool. For those of you who joined this session, like who hadn't attended the previous session, some of you, I think, or I don't know, maybe one or two of you messaged on the message center asking for the PDFs from previous session. You guys can talk to someone here in this class, maybe make some friends, and then you can probably ask them. They might have downloaded it. If you still don't get it from them, then let me know. You can always watch the video of previous sessions, but if you just want to read the document instead, let us know, and we can probably email to you guys. Okay, so yeah, guys, tried for 3-4 minutes now. Any questions? Is anyone having any issues with trying this? Okay, no issues. You want us to, yeah, just create a JSON. You create a dictionary, convert it into a JSON string, then convert it back into a dictionary, and see if everything looks good. Again, because we have done dictionaries, this should not be surprising to. Does a server have an IP address? Yes, a server has an IP address. Yeah. Not sure. Like, so you're. I'm not sure I understand the question. Yes, the server has an IP address, but IP address is there for a lot of other things also. Like your phone has an IP address. Okay. Okay, cool. So continuing with our previous example. So as I mentioned, we went to Wikipedia's API. We posted some parameters, and Wikipedia gave us a JSON response because we asked for a JSON response. Let's see what the response looks like. Can you see this response? It's like a dictionary, right? Like, this might be hard to see. I'll copy paste this into. You're getting an error. What's the error with you? Invalid syntax. Can you either share your collab code or copy paste your link, your code? Okay. Yeah, please copy paste your code or your collab link, and we can look at it. Vidyut or Tanishka, can you please, one of you copy your code and paste in the chat window, or share your collab session? Okay. Person JSON, name, age, school, birth year, person JSON string. Okay, let's copy exactly this thing. Mugil, are you also getting an error, Mugil?
Oh no, I just pasted it so you guys could check whether it's working.
Oh, okay, okay. So you guys missed a comma here, Tanishka. There is a comma here, right? Yeah, nice. So good job, Tanvi and Arham. So let's see if we run this, does it work? Yeah, it works. Okay, cool. So Vidyut, okay, go to code. Same problem, Vidyut. In a dictionary, when you are specifying different elements within a dictionary, you have to separate them by comma, right? After each key value pair, you're supposed to put a comma. First key value pair, second key value pair, and so on.
I, I,
Hi, Jonathan. You wanted to say something?
Getting a syntax error. Can you check it for me?
Can you copy paste your code?
Yeah, I did. My link.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Can someone look at this code and whoever can you figure out what's the problem? Forgot comma in the middle of the list. Which list did he forget comma? Here. Oh, here, yes. So one mistake, very nice. Any other mistakes? You wrote requisa JSON, but later it says car JSON. Very nice, yes. Second mistake. Can mega evolve is a single element tuple, right? Can mega evolve is a single element tuple. Is this what you meant, Jonathan? Did you want to keep it as a tuple?
Yeah. I wanted it so it also printed that whenever I recalled the.
I know, but you made it a tuple. Why a tuple? Because this looks like a simple string. Why a tuple?
Oh, I don't want it to be a tuple.
Oh, okay. So you don't need these brackets then. And then you want to probably print name. What else?
I wanted to print everything in the requisa JSON.
I know, but first you made some mistakes in creating the dictionary. We are rectifying those mistakes. Once we fix all the mistakes with the dictionary, then it will print properly. So where is it complaining? It's complaining about weight. So that's what they saw, and they said there was a missing comma here. So maybe this one also doesn't have to be a.
Yeah, this shouldn't be a tuple.
Right, so let's run now.
It's still complaining about the weight. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah, right. So I don't know if it has saved, but I'm sure like if you fix
Set
the
it so you can edit it.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So the mistakes were you called your variable requisa JSON, but you used car JSON string here and car JSON here. So you used wrong variable names. You forgot this comma. I don't think this is by itself a mistake. Let's see. Actually, I don't know if it serializes a tuple. Yeah, looks like you could use a tuple if you want to. There is nothing wrong. So it looks like it actually accepts a tuple. Yeah, it's accepting it. So you could actually, if you really wanted, you could have used a tuple there, but that itself doesn't really do much. But since it's a single element, there is really no need for it to be. Indentation is correct. Yeah, indentation looks correct.
So what if I wanted to print like each thing on its own line?
Sure, you can print it like you can say for key in requisa JSON 2.keys. Requisa JSON 2 of key. So each one got printed in its own thing. Yeah, we can take a break in a bit. So if you want to say something like this, you can even print. I'll comment out these two prints so that you can see that everything printed in its own line. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Didn't know you could do that.
No, this is just dictionary, right? Like this was what we studied previously. When the element, that's the reason why dictionaries are very useful, because you can give names to the values within dictionaries. You can easily take these and look for a name and print them nicely or access them nicely. More than printing them, accessing them is the primary concern. If you are using strings, I cannot say in this string, I cannot say give me top speed. It doesn't know, it's a big string.
Yeah, the
Hence,
top Speed is a mistake. That should have said height instead of top speed.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is a good stopping point. We'll come back. You can take a 10-minute break. Once we come back, we'll go over a little bit more about how to use REST APIs to do a little bit more interesting things. And then we'll discuss homework and the next sessions. Okay, you can 11:10. Okay, you can come back at 11:10. I'll also get some water meanwhile. If you guys have any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, we can come back at 11:10. I don't know, session 14 or session 15. Yeah, I lost track. I think, yeah, maybe session 14. From syllabus point of view, yes, this is session 14. It's only till session 8 on website. Interesting. Why? Oh, I see. Yeah, this is an older document. Thank you for letting us know. We'll update this document. This is a older document. Actually, this is not. No, it's just talking about what is in part 2 for whatever is in this one. So we didn't finish one session from part 1. So these are all starting with the math part. As I said, we had 4 parts.
I don't know if your screen share is updating, but you're just on like, yeah, there you go.
Right, yeah. So I was logging in. So this is basically, this is a 4-part thing that we had planned originally. So first part was learning Python, which we missed this last class in the first part. So we are covering it here. The second part is learning the math, some of the mathematics. Like, I can't teach all of it in such short time. You guys have to spend some time learning the mathematics part of it. So some of it is the mathematics part of it, and that's these next 6 sessions is all mathematics part of it. And then maybe 2 more sessions on data visualization. Once we are done with that, then part 3 is a slightly shorter part, which is about handling data. How do you handle data? It's about learning a tool or a library called pandas, which is popular for introductory stuff. Is part 1 on YouTube? Yeah. You should be able to see the screen now. But then part 4 is actually the actual artificial intelligence methods and what is machine learning and so on. We'll most probably end up doing more than just these terms here, depending on how you guys are following. Like, if you are depending on the speed with which we go, if you are able to follow quickly, we might do more topics than this, because in this I had completely omitted neural networks, and neural networks are currently the more hot things, but they're also slightly more harder to uh, get a good feel for. These are ideas where you can completely understand what you're doing, whereas neural network is more like a black box, and you cannot necessarily, you can understand roughly what's happening, but it's not very good in terms of explainability. So if depending on where we end up, we might do more than these topics in part 4, or how you guys are able to follow. That's why there isn't that much detail here, because I don't know how it would be received. So I didn't really even mention that much here. So 4 parts. First part was Python, second part is mathematics, third part is data handling, fourth part is artificial intelligence techniques. After this class, we will only do the mathematical part of the syllabus. Yeah, it's on YouTube. Sorry, someone asked. Is part one on YouTube? Yeah, it's like I think 12 or 13 videos you can watch. But if you also want to read instead of watching, you can ask someone else in this class, make some new friends and ask them, and if they have the PDFs or classwork or homework stuff, so that they can share with you. But if you can't, if you don't know anyone else in the class and you haven't made any new friends, then message on the message center and I'll upload those documents to my Google Drive and give you guys a link. In case you want to read through that, because it's more general introduction to Python, you guys can learn online as well. Certain things maybe are somewhat specific ways of introducing certain concepts, but that's just a way of introduction. Right. Yes, I think I replied back to you, right, Anmol? I forgot to send you the documents. I'll send it today. How many of you are new students, like who didn't attend last class? You can raise your hand if you haven't attended the last session. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anmol and Ayush, are you guys related to each other?
Yeah, we're twins.
Oh, okay, cool. You guys took the test also, right? The final exam.
Yeah, I mean, we just decided to just like take it because just like for the sake of it. I mean,
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's what was surprising. Was like we suddenly saw some new names on the test which we didn't recognize. But okay, so 5 new. Arham Jain, are you related to Aditya Jain?
No.
Okay. Yeah, Meghna, last class is final. Yeah, or last session, basically last 13, 14 classes. Okay, so just 4 new people. Okay. Can you share the PDFs? Yeah, sure. Oh, you want to? Yeah, we can send the final exam also in case you want. I think I stopped accepting responses on that Google Drive or on that Google Doc. Please send me a message on the message center, Shrish and Arham. I will respond with like links basically so that I don't have to keep uploading lots of documents. So I'll respond with links instead of uploading, sending all the documents directly by email. Which grades are you guys in? Like Arham, Ayush, are you guys in 8th grade-ish or 10th? Okay, 7th. Okay. Shreyansh, 7th. Okay. Satvik is also in 7th. Nice.
there's no option for me to like specify who to send it to. There's just
You can
like
send, yeah, I'll get it. Yeah, if you just send it, I'll get it. Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to specify depending on your which section you're in. If you're in A, B, C, D, it will send to like instructor for that section, and also I'll get it. Class ends at 12 o'clock actually. Yeah. Another 50 minutes. Once everybody is back in 2-3 minutes. Actually, as everyone is coming back, just so that I can get a feel for how much to focus on each topic. How many of you know what are linear equations? Just a quick voting. Okay. Okay. Linear equations. Okay. Okay, good. How many of you know what is matrices? Okay. Okay, good. How many of you know what's the connection between these two? Vector math. Okay. Okay, very good. So looks like up to here at least size and direction. Yeah. And okay, that's good. So that's good news. Some of you probably have used this NumPy. Anyone who has used NumPy? Even in previous class, you guys were giving NumPy examples. Okay. Okay, cool. How many of you know what's matrix multiplication? Okay, very nice. So 6, 7, 7, 8 people. Okay. And yeah, so 6, 7. Yeah. How many of you know what's matrix inverse? Inverting a matrix or inverse of a matrix? Okay, 1. Okay, 2. Okay, so now numbers are dropping. Okay, so here I can just maybe then go through this quickly and then focus on more things probably. Okay. How many of you know what's a higher dimensional matrix? (3D), okay, yeah, 3D, 4D, 5D. Yeah, like tensors and stuff, yeah. Like the most popular example of a higher dimensional matrix is like space-time, right? You guys probably have heard a English example of higher dimensional. But when we say higher dimensional matrix in this context, it's very different. Not really space-time or anything like that. It's yeah, but space-time is an example of a slightly high dimensional matrix than what you're used to. Right? How many dimensions are there in space-time? 4, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, as everyone is back, we'll just finish this quick survey. I'm sure all of you know probability. Does anyone not know probability? If anyone doesn't know probability, I'll probably go, okay. No, please don't answer who knows, because I'm sure most of you have done some probability. I just want to know who doesn't know probability at all. Like if anyone doesn't know, please don't feel shy. If I don't know, then I'll probably, okay, cool, no problem. Okay, so there are at least a couple of students who don't know. How many of you know Bayes theorem or conditional probability? Okay, somewhat. Okay. Okay. Independent events. Okay. Have you programmed any probabilistic problems? Like have you done mostly through pen and paper or programming? What's a probability problem that you have solved through programming? Rock, paper, scissors. Okay, interesting. I made one in Java. Interesting. Okay, and combinatorics. Any idea? Like, okay. Data distributions. How many of you know what are data distributions? No, not that kind of data distributions. Like, yeah, no, don't. Yeah, we haven't heard. It's good. So when, for example, heights of people are commonly thought of to be a Gaussian distribution, or scores of students in a class is commonly thought of to be a Poisson distribution. Uh, those are how data is spread out. Like if you create a graph of how frequently some data value appears, that's called a histogram, and the shape of those graphs have some names depending on common. Yeah, standard deviation is a common measure for data distribution. And certain distributions, the only way you define is by giving its mean and standard deviation, and that's good enough to define it. Okay, so here looks like we have to stop. So okay, so this is where somewhat further. Okay, cool. So at least I know what to focus on next 4 classes. We'll see. Actually, also wanted to ask another question, because some of you guys know this. I have 2 styles in which I would like to go through this. One is an interactive style where maybe we'll try to have like a conversation with 3 students, maybe being like a group, and I will be talking to them. They can be responding, or they can be saying something and I will be responding. I don't know if it will be fun. That's what I want to try and see. I have never tried it. This is great, but I have participated in such conversations when I was a student. Not really breakout rooms. It'll be like a group discussion kind of thing. Like, but it only works if you guys know reasonably on some topic. It doesn't work if you don't know that much. So it's more like 3 or 4 students discussing the ideas. We can try for this linear equations part and see if it's fun for others. And then we can continue. Yeah, it's more like an intellectual conversation or a debate or a group discussion kind of thing, where you're all bringing your viewpoint. It wouldn't work for concepts which a lot of you don't know. But if there are 3 or 4 people who are confident you know about at least the basic topics, we can try out that method. If that works, then maybe we can discuss better ways of exploring other methods as well. Because we are going to do this the programming way. Yeah, let's try with linear equations. We can try the group discussion way. Who wants to volunteer? We need like 4 people for group discussion. So you guys will be discussing. I'll just be introducing topics and you guys can discuss. I can even email you guys the topics ahead of time in case you want to just glance up for them. Who want to be the volunteers for the group discussion? Yeah, exactly. I will email you guys what we are going to talk about in linear equations.
Yeah, I want to talk about it.
Right. Okay. So Shruti Satya is 1.
Can I be one, please?
Okay, Jonathan is 1. Satya, Shai, Shreya, Satya. So both of you will be talking from the same home. Okay. So 2 volunteers from same home, and then Jonathan. Okay. Anyone else? 4th one. We'll only try for like 30 minutes or so and see. So you guys don't have to prepare for like 2 hours or something. So who wants to be the 4th volunteer? Shreyan, you want to be a volunteer? No? Okay. You're volunteering for like group discussion on this topic of linear equations. I'll send you some topic ideas and you guys can prepare, and then you can come and present on something. Or when you are talking, let's say Shruti is talking about what's a linear equation, then maybe Jonathan will say, oh, there is another way to think about it, or something like that, his view about linear equation. Could they use the class material videos available? Yeah, sure, whatever you want to do. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, you can think of it as Toastmasters. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, Toastmasters is also something like that. Yeah. So fourth person. Who is the fourth person? Yeah, I'll send the topics basically. Like it will not be just math part of it. As I said, like this is programming for mathematics, right? So it will be more programming based and not just the math part of it, because all of you know how to solve x plus y equal to 3 and x plus 2y equal to 5, right? Next class, basically, next class. So 3 of you, I found 3 volunteers. Any fourth volunteer? Okay, I'll call out some names. Okay, Shrish G. Okay, cool. So 4 volunteers. So Shruti Satya, Sai Shriya Satya, Jonathan, and Shrish. Okay, I'll email you guys. Uh, can you privately message me what your email IDs are? Or actually, no, I think I can email you from the class. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what's that? Okay, cool. So I'll email you guys what are the topics. Okay, let's get back to where we were in terms of web communications, right? So as you saw already, we requested Wikipedia summary. We requested Wikipedia to give us this title, a response to this title called Major League Baseball. No, not today. It's next week. I mean, 2 weeks from now. So we submitted a request to Wikipedia's API to respond. We queried it with this title, and these parameter names are all documented. Like what I did is before the class, I went to Wikipedia API documentation, and then you go here, they will give you examples. Like there are lots of examples about this documentation. Let's see, query. Yeah. So if I go to this query page, it'll tell you what I can do, what I cannot do, and so many examples. Right. See here, it even tells me. So I can action query, prop is revisions, meta equal to site, whatever titles is something. Right, so you can request, and you'll find lots of examples. You can even Google basically Wikipedia API example, and you'll get lots of articles about them. Somebody would have written about this, right? So you can find, and since since the parameters are what the website decides, you really have no control over this. The website decides what these parameters are, so you have to go to the website's documentation to figure out what these parameters are. Make sense? Okay, so let's continue. So I just printed the response. If you notice, the response is actually a pretty big JSON response. Can you see my notepad window? Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. So in this notepad window, if I want to read the text within a given page, see it is, so let me see if I change it to, so the response is something like this. Query is normalized. This is the query attributes, and it has returned pages. And that pages, there is a page number, and that has a page ID, and that page has something, it has a title, and finally it has an extract. So if I want to read the text, it's in the extract portion of the page, right? So if you notice, this is in the extract of the page, right? So I should really, this is my overall response. Within my response, there is an element called pages. Is there a limit to JSON response? You mean like a size limit? Matthew, you mean like a size limit or something? Yeah, I think, I mean, there is practical limitations on how much you can reliably send. Like if you send 1 terabyte of the data in a string like this, you probably will have some connection related problems, but by definition, I don't think there is any limit. I might be wrong, but I don't think there is any limit as such. But there is practically some some number that would cause you problems, right? Like you go beyond that. So in my response, I'm looking for an element called pages, which is a dictionary. In that dictionary, there is a key, and I don't know what this key is, right? Whatever is the first key in that dictionary. So I would probably have to read the first key somehow. And within that first key, I'm looking for, within the value in the first key, I'm looking for a value called extract, right? That's kind of what I'm supposed to do, because this key itself is unknown to me, right? I wouldn't know what this key is. So let's see how I would be able to read this. So first I can read pages attribute very easily, right? I can simply say response of pages, or sorry, is this the first one? Sorry, response of query looks like. Response of query, and then that has pages. So I could read up to this element. Now I'm within this dictionary. Now I have to somehow figure out what's the first key. How do you figure out what's the first key? But I don't know, right? Like this is the key here. 38776 is the key. If you, let me just maybe change alignment a little bit, like, and then maybe it will be clear where the keys are starting and ending. So this is our challenge, right? Within the pages dictionary, or within this pages dictionary, I have a key called 38776 whose value is another dictionary. So say 0. Okay, so I could say something like dot keys of 0. Is that what you mean? Okay, so it doesn't like that, because pages, what is pages? Pages is a dictionary. Doesn't like that one. What can we do? So what about trying like dot values? Okay, so now it printed the values. So now we got values. So now within this values, we can say of extract. Let's see if this works out fine. This probably doesn't work out because values is not a single value, it's a collection. So I did dot values and it is now printing all these values. But I want to get extract. How do I go there? So that's where this interesting looking syntax or funny looking syntax comes handy, right? This next iter, right? It already loaded, right? Like I already loaded this JSON. I don't have to load again. This is already JSON. That's why I'm able to handle this thing straightforward. So this next and iter are basically ways of looping through collections. So I'm making this values an iteratable collection. Iteration means going through collection one at a time. So values is right now a dictionary values collection. I'm saying, okay, make it an iterable one. So when I say iter of this, let's see if I can even print this. Doesn't do anything. Yeah, so it gave me an iterator. So iteration, you guys probably know or have not. If you haven't heard of it, it's just a fancy way of saying I'm making it in a way that I can loop through by index. So go 1, 2, 3, so on. And this next is a special command to say, okay, give me the first one or the next one. So when you're at the beginning, next is the first element, right? So when I say this, it gives me the first element within this, right? So once I do this, this is my page JSON value or the page dictionary that I wanted, right? So if I type page now, oops, it's giving me this. So I should now be able to say page of extract. So let's go over a little bit again shortly. So this is what I got back. I don't know. So Ish and team, did you guys use some other API? I don't know what API you used for your. Yeah, you should be able to get my code directly. Let me
Yeah,
see.
we use newspaper API.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, copy link. Okay, so you should be able to get this. So let's go over step by step. What did we do? Again, in your homework, you can explore a lot more about this. In 10 minutes, in 15-20 minutes, we'll discuss about how to do more interesting things with this. So we have a requests module, we import requests, and then we are trying to post some data, or we are trying to give some parameters to this get method, which is equivalent of post, and requesting it to respond with a JSON response, right? So I said request.get, I'm asking Wikipedia's application programming interface. I'm asking it to query and return a JSON string for this title, Major League Baseball. And this is some variables. I don't know what these variables represent, but this was their syntax. So I just copied these, but at least these are understandable, hopefully. So I'm hoping it works and it gives a JSON. This is bad style, right? You should really check response. If the response is not equal to, if the response status is equal to 200, then you should be doing this. But the sample that I found, they were super confident Wikipedia always responds. So they just did .json here. So we could do this way. Once I did this, if you want to look at the response object, you can print the response object, because now we have converted the response string to a response JSON. It's now showing you a dictionary. In this dictionary, I noticed that there are some dictionary within dictionary, or nested dictionaries, and that was this. So I noticed that the text that I'm looking for is within pages element, first key within the pages element. So it's in the pages element has a dictionary. In that dictionary, the first key has a page, and in that dictionary has a page dictionary. So you can think of this as a page dictionary, this as a pages dictionary. So I went to pages dictionary, got the first page dictionary value, and then I'm reading the extract out of it. But unfortunately, I would have no way of knowing the key ID for this, right? So if I try to print response, I can go there directly. I can even go directly to query and directly to pages, but I have no easy way of knowing what this key is. I can visually see it, but if I change this to from Major League Baseball to something else, give me some other link.
Pikachu.
No Pokemon, please. I really don't know how to type Pokemon names.
NBA.
NBA. Okay, so let's try NBA. Okay, so National Basketball Association. Very good. So now if you notice here, the page ID changed, right? When it was Major League Baseball, page ID's key was 38776. Here key is 22093. So it looks like this key is dynamic, and hence I have no way to make sure type that key here directly, right? I can't say always go to 22093 because this key is not fixed. Whereas query and pages collection keys are fixed, but this key keeps changing based on the title I'm requesting. Hence, I can't code it like this. Of course, this is not wrong. I can type it this way, right? And I can even type it off extract. There is nothing wrong with this method, just that it is now hard coded for NBA. This won't work when I go back to Major League Baseball, right? So when I go back to this, now it will give me an error. What error would it give me? Any guesses what error would it give me? API error? No, it's not an API error, right? Like this one will work fine. So API has nothing to syntax, not really syntax. No key found, absolutely. Yeah, 22093 is not there, right? So this is the error. There is no key called 22093 when Major League Baseball is the title. For that, the key is 38776. And this would work. So without having to hard code this key here, so this is a nested dictionary within a nested dictionary within a nested dictionary. And this is how JSON objects are commonly represented. You'll have dictionary within a dictionary within a dictionary within a dictionary, because they want to organize the data so that they can handle all sorts of queries, not just to get the text out. Since I can't hard code this, the other way of making this work is I can convert this dictionary into a list. Can I convert a dictionary to a list? Is it possible? How do you convert a dictionary to a list? List of, okay, so let's see. So what happens if I do this? Oops. So now it says 38776. So this is another way of doing it. So I can say list of this and put it here. Right now I have removed the hard coding from here because I really just want to get the first element, whatever is the first page, that first page key. So I converted the dictionary into a list, and now this dictionary, how many elements does this dictionary have? Pages dictionary right now. How many elements are there within this pages dictionary? How many keys? Sorry. How many keys are there within this pages dictionary? Anybody? 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 5. Okay. Actually, yeah, Matthew is right. Just one key. In this pages dictionary, there is just one key. Within 38776 key, there is another dictionary which has 4 keys. So just one key within pages. So I converted pages dictionary into a list, and I'm just saying, okay, give me the first key or first value, which will just be 38776. And hence I created this. So if you don't like this next iter style, you can use this style, one of these two styles. So this is one way of navigating Wikipedia. But what's the challenge with this method of navigating Wikipedia?
Maybe if there's nothing of the title.
Sorry, yeah, someone said that, yeah, but I couldn't catch that.
I just said something that's not the title, like, I don't know. If you put something that's not actually in Wikipedia.
Correct. So if you don't know the title exactly, so let's see Major League Baseballs. What would happen? So you got an error, right? So this method of accessing Wikipedia assumes you somehow magically know exactly what's the title for every page you want to go to, and that's practically not possible, right? So let's try MLB. Doesn't look like it gives a response at all, right? Or it may be giving a response. I don't know what's the result of that response. So it simply says that there is no such page, or there is no extract in that page in MLB. So interesting enough. So Major League Baseball works, but Major League MLB doesn't work. This is not what you were expecting, right? So this method is not as friendly as we were hoping. So one other way of looking at it is to try to randomly find out the articles that you want to read. This is what Ish and team had done, right? Like for their project. So you could use something, and this is all things that I found online already. You can easily find it yourself as well. This is another piece of code. We'll go over the piece of code because there is not much fun in writing this, but you should try to write it yourself. We don't need all this. We can simply say request.get. Let's see if it gives us. Okay. So what did I do? I am now using similar API, but I'm giving different input parameters. So if you notice, let's look at the parameters. So this is my current parameters. This was my previous parameters. So both the times my action is to query, my format is to respond with a JSON. Previously, I was supplying a title. Now I'm just saying, okay, give me a list of random topics, up to 10 topics. So I'm just asking it to give me a list of random 10 topics. All these things are not things I made up. This is what Wikipedia made up. You can go to Wikipedia's documentation and you can learn more about this if you are really interested in dealing with Wikipedia. You can do a lot of things. Basically, you can create your own Wikipedia pages using code. You don't have to manually go type anything. You can program and say, create a Wikipedia page for myself, and it would work. Actually, that seems like an interesting homework problem if you guys want to do it. Create your own Wikipedia pages like Mugil Shanmugam using programming. Okay, not too interested. Shreyan is not interested. If anyone is interested, we can do that as a homework problem. Mugil is also not interested. Nobody is interested. So basically, Wikipedia has an API where you can create your own pages. Instead of saying request.get, you would say request.put or however that API allows. And you can Google and find out what that is, right? Request dot whatever. So whatever is the right method, you would either call request.put or request.something. You have to Google and learn that. Yeah, try it. Try it. Maybe we can give it as a bonus question. As a bonus question, you guys have to write code and create a Wikipedia page. How about that? Okay, so this Wikipedia page, I'm just doing the same kind of thing as previous. Can you guys hear me? Sorry. Okay, sorry, I got a phone call. Someone. Okay. How is it supposed to be? You should be able to read. I'll give you some hints on what you can do in the homework problem. So this the above two are exactly identical. I'm just making them look the same so that you don't have to worry about. Okay. So did I make a mistake? Oh, yeah, I made a mistake. Okay, one second. Let me quickly compare. So params. Okay. Oh, this is wrong. I should have read the message correctly. Okay. So I made basically both of these things look the same. So we can even do this way. So I've avoided any extra differences between those two pieces of code. Okay. So if you notice here, it's giving me 10 random things from Wikipedia. As you can see, Wikipedia has various different types of pages. You're getting some category, you're getting some talk, you're getting some user talk. I don't know what's the difference. And then there is something like this. I have no clue what that is. So Wikipedia has lots of different titles, right? So I'm assuming only things like this, like Giles Hungerford is probably a title. Let's see if that's a title in Wikipedia or not. Yeah, so looks like that's a title and it's an acceptable title. So only if you get back a response without a colon, maybe that's a title. So if you keep randomly parsing, there may be a way to add one more parameter to this to say, only give me titles for pages, don't give me users, don't give me talks or whatnot. So this is Wikipedia's API. So basically, let's summarize. So first you establish a GET request. If the response status is 200, then you know it worked fine. Then this is by passing a specific set of parameters, you can ask for Wikipedia to return the content of a given page on Wikipedia. Yeah, sure, you can get the images from Wikipedia also. So you can, by specifying this page, you can get some content on that page. And if you want to loop through the content, you would, or if you want to extract the text that is there on that page, you could do something like this. And finally, if you want to get a list of random pages, you could submit another GET request and get the random titles. So this would constitute, okay, I don't know if special colon random, maybe that implements. So when you go to the special colon random, maybe that web page also does the same thing, Satvik. I think it does like a random list. It gets a random list and then it redirects you to the first article that it finds in that random list. Maybe that's what it does. I don't know. When you go to special colon random Wikipedia page. So this is how web requests and responses work. Now, I created a few other examples for some movie related stuff. I wanted to show you this thing because of a common practice on websites. So this is a website called OMDB, Open Movie Database, not Internet Movie Database. I think it's an API for IMDb. I don't know if it's tightly connected. No, it's not over another 15 minutes. So this is a URL, omdbapi.com. You can go, you should be able to go to this website. Okay, we can go to the HTTPS version of this, if it has it. Okay, so this is Open Movie Database. So according to this Open Movie Database, the poster API is only available to Patron. I don't know what this is, but okay. So this is a RESTful web service, right? The OMDB API is a RESTful web service to obtain movie information, all content and images on the site, or blah, 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 whatever, right? So this is, there are only two methods to this RESTful API. One is you can search by name. So they even gave you an example. You can search by title or you can search by ID. The reason I'm going over this is because this is one of your homework problems. Okay. So this OMDB API allows you to search for a movie by title or search for a movie by ID. Of course, you would have to know the exact ID in IMDb database for that movie to even search. You can find out what the JSON API looks like. Like, for example, tell me some movie name. It, okay. So let's see. So if you notice here, it searches for the movie It, right? And it's returning me all this information. It says the title is It, year is 2017. It's an R-rated movie. It was released on 8th September 2017 with a runtime of 2 hours 15 minutes. It's a horror movie directed by Andy Muschietti and writer is Chase Palmer and so on, right? All the information. You can even find a link to the poster. Like if you go to this web page, you'll probably get the poster for it. Right? So it's giving you all the information it has about it. So this is an IMDb data API. Avengers, you can probably search for Avengers. It says The Avengers. See, it is correcting movie names. It's finding the closest match to Avengers. And it says it's released in 2012. The actor is Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans. and so on. How about a Bollywood movie? Tell me the name of some Bollywood movie that might be there in IMDb. Om Shanti Om. Okay, nice. Om Shanti Om. So Om Shanti Om. In 1970s, Om is an aspiring actor, is murdered, but is immediately reincarnated into the present day. Yeah, I'm sure it will find it if it is there in IMDb. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up in the class and not just give it as a homework is because Wikipedia is allowing you to get data from Wikipedia very freely, right? I didn't have to say anything. I just went here and I typed Wikipedia's API, gave it some parameters, and it gave me the response. Shahrukh is better than Aditya Roy Kapoor. Very good. So it gave me a response. But do you think every website will behave the same friendly manner? Agora Math Circle is in Panama. I don't know. Should ask Kalyan where it is.
I just pinged agoramathcircle.com and it told me where the servers were.
Okay.
It didn't say like request time. Yes.
Okay. Okay, Jonathan, that's okay.
I have
Yeah.
a class, bro. 12 to 1:30.
Yeah. So continuing on, we have what's this? Sorry. So most websites won't let you access so openly, right? If you, I think ours is agoramathcircle.org. So most websites have some credentials that they want to if you want to access them. And one common way most websites keep track of who is trying to fetch requests for them is by specifying something called API keys. So if you guys want to query this OMDB website, you are supposed to get your own API key. Like I went and got my own API key, which is this value here, F585, whatever. So most websites will ask you for some credentials within the GET request or within the POST request. You're supposed to post your API key. And this is a common practice. This is how they track. API key is like basically your username. This website is saying, okay, username, whatever my username is, I can only submit 1,000 queries per day according to this website, right? So I only have a 1,000 query limit because I got for the free account. If I became a Patreon, if I had a Patreon login, probably I would have gotten more unlimited queries. So this is this website's way of making sure I just don't abuse this website. So they're giving me a key, and without this username or without this key, I can't query this website. So if I try to query it, like for example, I try to query for the movie Scream, another horror movie. I don't know why we are into horror movies so much. So it says no API key provided. So if I type this now, it's giving me the response that we wanted. Does this make sense? Okay. So this is OMDB's website. So now in the last 10 minutes of the class, let's discuss about homework for the class. So before we discuss homework, any questions on this on JSON web request? Oh, you want to copy the API key? Don't copy my API key because then I'll not be able to use it for 1,000 times. You can sign up and get your own API keys. It's free. Just sign up and it's just put your email, name, password. You can say educational in use. They don't seem to mind who is creating. You just need an email ID. You can create a API key. It takes like 2 minutes. Okay, so first homework question. Let's see. We have now a movie database that you guys can query. Yeah, Jonathan, stop talking about agoramathcircle.org. Let's focus on OMDB API for a second. Okay, after the class, if you want, we can talk interesting things about where is agoramathcircle.org server located. Okay, so we have this movie database. What are some interesting things you guys would like to do? You can choose. As I said, you can only search by name and you can search by ID. So you only have two things you can search by. So based on that, think of what interesting things you guys could do. Movie info. Okay, what movie info? Summary, actors in movie. Those are all straightforward things. Okay, so let's just say, okay, one part of your homework question is basically go to this API, find a movie by name and find a movie by address, and you have to print all the things related to that, like for example, title, year, rated, whatever. Yeah, so that's one homework question, the easy part, for which I'm almost showing the code here. So it's something to get you started. You guys create your own API keys, go to this website, get some movie info. Google Maps, let's see. We'll try 3 homework questions. One homework question with this Omdb API. One homework question with creating a web page on Wikipedia. Another one, let's see which other website is friendly. I have not tried every website, so I don't know which website is friendly or some websites have a very detailed or a slightly more complex API, so it may be difficult, but we can see. Okay, so one question is that, but that seems straightforward. Getting the movie information seems extremely straightforward. What else can you guys think of? Will we get the OMDB? Yeah. Homework instructions will include more document in the PDF. I'll explain a little bit more. But this is just a high-level discussion about the homework problem. So one homework question is basically about going to this OMDB API, asking a user for a movie name, and then typing or printing all the information related to that movie. That's one easy homework question. What is something that you can do from the movie database? That's a slightly more harder homework question. Anybody? We want a slightly more harder movie database related question. Predict movie success. What will you do? Movie won Oscar, finding what it is about. Finding what it is about is actually very straightforward. It gives you the genre, it gives you the plot, everything. So it's straightforward. It also gives you the awards. So that's also very straightforward. Yeah. Predicting movie success is not that straightforward for those of you who think you could just do it in 2 lines. It's a relatively difficult one. Okay, that's a good one. So Arham Jain has a good proposal. Get a movie, get its director, then get a list of movies by that director, then compare the ratings of all those movies to decide if this movie is the highest rated by that director. That seems like an interesting question. That's an interesting question if you guys are interested. But as I said, Arham, it might be difficult to do that directly because this API only allows you to search by movie names, right? So it doesn't allow you to search by director. You can search by movie title, right? You may have to find some other API for doing that, which I'm not too keen. Like, yeah, there are definitely other APIs. Let's search, see, IMDb APIs. There are lots of IMDb APIs, but this one, I think you have to sign up, which I don't know. No, this one. Oops. So there is this other website that gives you like 3 or 4 IMDb APIs. So there is some other thing called IMDb API. I don't know. Okay. So yeah, let me see if I find that. I think if I find a reasonably easy to use API where you can search by other attributes, yeah, then I'll give that as a second homework. Build your own API that scrapes Google. Yeah, that one a little more work because we didn't discuss scraping, right? Like, I don't know how many people would know scraping. Yeah, I wanted to try describing scraping also in this class, but maybe some other class will try web scraping as well. So one question is about finding movie info. Second question is about getting some top rated movies for a given director. Okay, Google Maps. Since somebody has been asking relentlessly about Google Maps, okay. So let me see, what's something you could do on Google Maps API?
Search
Uh,
for a place.
Let me see how easy it is to use Google Maps API. First of all, I don't know if it's easy to use or if it is even, I'm sure it's free to use up to some level. Yeah, get a free API. Yeah, looks like actually there is a very, yeah, there is very rich documentation about this. Yeah, looks like you guys can try getting started with this Maps API. Yeah, I'm sure you can find a lot of information. Oh, Google documentation is bad. Okay. Looks actually like, yeah, this is about the Java. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me see if I can find some decent documentation. What is a good Google Maps thing? What would be some Google Maps related API that you guys would like to explore? Give me some hard thing that you want to do. Don't say easy things. Find permanently closed things in the USA. Okay, that's interesting. Give coordinates and get city name. That may be actually very straightforward, but okay, let's see. Any other suggestions that you guys want to try on Google Maps? Find my house that hard. My house. What? Finding your house cannot be that hard, right? Scrape Git. Yeah, you can scrape GitHub for end of year projects. Yeah,
Yeah, you can
that could be.
Reddit, you can scrape GitHub, you can scrape literally anything.
Right, you can literally scrape anything if it's on the web, yes. But yeah, we don't want to scrape. Find restaurants near a city that is open from 9 a.m. Oh, Matthew, that actually might be very hard to do. And you might need to do a lot of, because I mean, that's the thing that some websites offer, right? Like finding web restaurants that are open. So that might be actually very hard to do.
Well, you first have to like give us the city name, and then we have to like kind of focus on like just researching, and then we have to find. So I don't.
Okay. So let me see if it is possible. I don't know. If I find enough documentation, maybe I can give this as homework and say, if you give a city name, find the top rated restaurants, like find the top 4 restaurants in that city. Yeah, no stalking. Okay, so that's 2 APIs, decent number of questions. So the 4 questions that we are discussing are first question on OMDB API. I ask user for a name of a movie and get the movie information. Second question on a better API than OMDB API. If I find it, if I don't find it, I'll think of something from the OMDB API itself. A way for you to get a list of all the movies for a given director or a given actor and find the best movie amongst from the list of movies that you get for them. So that's 2 movie related questions. Then we have Google Maps question. The first Google Maps question was, what was the first one? The easy one was give the name of a city and no, give some coordinates and get the name of a city. I don't know if that's actually that straightforward, but it might be. I don't know. Then other things might be given an address, find the nearest number of McDonald's. Those things might be very straightforward, Anmol, actually, because that's the purpose of Google Maps, right? Giving you the address. So if you just search McDonald's, it might give you. Yeah, find permanently closed Vidyut. That might be really difficult to do. Find permanently closed spots because you don't know the list of things to search, right? Yeah, class is almost over. Why are you so interested in when the class gets over? Yeah. So generate random coordinates and find the city name. Yeah, sure. Oh, that's an interesting example. Good idea, Satvik. So yeah, generate random coordinates and find city example. That's a good one. Yeah, that's also a good one. We'll see with it. I'll see if I can give something along those lines of permanently closed ones. And if we find some good API documentation, maybe I'll give you something about like some recommendation service, like best Indian restaurants in Los Angeles or something like that. If you should be able to search something like that.
Can I give a recommend like another one?
Yeah, sure. Which one?
So like I was thinking, because since like, you know, you have those hotels that are like, you have different locations, and then the same hotels at different locations, we can like find, like we can randomize it so that it can give us one of those hotels. Like you have, for example, I don't know what else to
Holiday
say.
Inn, let's say, for example,
Yeah.
is everywhere. Yeah, okay.
So we can kind of randomize it and give us one location.
So you want to find like the nearest location or the farthest location, something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that will be, yeah, something along those lines. Yeah, Vidyut, if you want, I'll see how easy it is to find an API that will support something like that permanently closed. COVID-19 tracker. I don't know if there is that much publicly available data. Like maybe you can get statistical data, but I don't know if you can get geographical data accurately. No, I think most of the data that you are seeing for COVID is just based on what county releases, right? Because in US, you can't release actually a person's health information. That's all called protected health information. And you can't know that. What you see.
But in China, they do that. So you can find like some sort of Chinese website, and it just has an entire list of this person has COVID and where they are.
Yeah, no, that's probably random, but no. Yeah, they just do county level, and that's the only authoritative thing. So yeah, it's not, you can't really find out exactly where the location is. Yeah, but you can probably, if you want, actually, that's an interesting thing. Maybe you can try to highlight around you. Yeah, but heat map, I don't know. That becomes too much of a visualization exercise. If I find a API call that can generate that on Google Maps, then that's an interesting homework problem to explore, like generating a COVID-19 heat map around you based on getting some data from, I'm sure the open databases that are there, like COVID-19 stats. There are lots of open databases which have APIs, like Worldometer. I'm pretty sure this has a very smooth API. You should be able to get from here, or the John Hopkins API. Maybe you can get it from here, because at least for US in John Hopkins API, you should be able to get COVID API. I don't know if they are open and free. That's what I don't know. That's why I don't want to say this. Let's do this homework. But if the APIs are open and free, then yeah, sure. We can, that's an interesting thing. Okay, so we have enough questions, and then we already had that bonus question of creating your own Wikipedia page. So we have a lot of questions for this homework. Okay, cool. So I think that's pretty much the end of the topic. If you guys want to explore other things on your own, please feel free to try different APIs. We will put this knowledge to good use in later things, because one of the homework problems that I want to explore in future is something to do with NBA statistics. Another homework problem that I want to do something about is something to do with population statistics. So learn how to use APIs now, because we will keep getting a lot of data from the internet through APIs for future projects. So in this class, these 2 weeks, try to get familiar with APIs and how to make basic web requests. Oh, COVID is all over. Yeah, if you see Brazil also, COVID is all over Brazil. If you see Europe, all over Europe. So this is more like a heat map, or more like a density plot. So it's just showing you how big of a cluster each one is. See, it looks like, almost looks like Canada has no COVID, but that's just because Canada has no population almost in this entire region, right? Yeah. There is no COVID in the sea except here in one tiny island somewhere. See, there is some COVID here also. Oh, actually, they must have misplaced this geolocation for this. They probably meant to put it in this Santa Maria, and they put it in this ocean. Okay, anyway, so interesting question topics. I hope I'll remember whatever we discussed, or at least I'll watch the video again to see what we discussed. So 5-6 questions, but you guys do feel free to explore other API related questions as well. Whichever interests you, whatever suits your interests, please go ahead and explore those. Generate random coordinates. You can try that, Satvik. It doesn't have to be a homework question, right? Generate random. Yeah, actually, that seems like a good homework question. I think that one we can do as a homework one. Generate random coordinates and get city name. Make sure the random coordinates are well behaved, right? Like, don't give a number like a billion, because the coordinates have some fixed degrees, right? It's between 0 to 180 degrees, or 0 to and then each part of the coordinate has some range of values. So restrict your random definition to that range, and then
I don't. I accidentally set that for every day for some reason.
Sorry, what's that? Sorry, you were saying something. Someone was saying something. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's it for today's class. Hopefully, you guys will have fun exploring different APIs of what.
No.
Bye.
Okay, cool. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you.
Don't forget to subscribe and like. If you have any questions, you can email info@agoramastercode.org or comment below and we'll reply back. Maybe. And if you want to see practice things or anything about us, you can visit our website, which is basically the end of the email, but without the info and the end. So bye!